Hello, and welcome to our #WeConnect webinar series. I am so excited to continue to increase transparency and communication with our community to ensure that you are aware of all the great initiatives that are happening here in Evergreen Park School District 124. The goal and purpose behind our WeConnect is to ensure that parents are able to support their students at home, creating a partnership between home and school. As a reminder, the district engaged in a strategic planning process that is a 3-year plan to increase culture, communication, curriculum and instruction, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and student support services. You might notice that today we are wearing our EP family t-shirts tied to the culture of our school district and the branding that we are attempting to do to ensure that everyone knows our EP family and that we are dedicated to supporting one another. This is really truly about our journey and ensuring that you know and recognize what's happening at the classroom teacher level, because that is where the rubber meets the road. Today, I am so excited to introduce our special guest, Dr. Ashley Carlson, who actually got a title change. She is currently our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction. And so welcome today, Ashley. She is going to be sharing the progress that we've made in teaching and learning.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. We both decided together that we would wear our EP shirts so that everyone can see what our theme is, and we're trying to promote that more within our community as well.
Yes.
So Ashley, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So this is my 21st year in education. I started out as a 5th grade teacher for 14 years and then was the principal of an early childhood building down at Iroquois West, way south of here. I also was director of curriculum for that district and served there for a while and loved it, but feel so lucky to be here at Evergreen Park. I agree. EP family is something definitely special, and it's great to be a part of it. I am also the mom of 3 kids. I have a 16-year-old, and my son Liam turned 13 today, so it's his birthday.
Right.
And then also 12-year-old Owen, and wife to Ryan. So family is really important to me at all areas. So it's great to be a part of a work family here, and then also my home family. My favorite quote is on the screen. It's one that I looked at. I'm like, no, that still is my favorite quote. Excellence is never an accident. It's always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. I just really feel like that's the heart of what I try to do every day. We're striving for excellence in everything that we do, and it never just happens. We definitely have to have the intention and the effort, and we have to make sure that we're executing and implementing things with fidelity. So
Absolutely. So important. I feel like that is all we've done is really talk about implementation and implementation science and making sure that all our teachers know where we're at and where we're going and aiming towards vertical articulation within our curriculum as well, as requested by our community and our strategic planning process.
Absolutely.
So there are 5, no, you have 6 goal areas for
No,
curriculum.
I have so many.
You had the most, if I remember correctly, which makes sense. I like to say the most important thing we do is teach kids. So do you want to briefly go over what those goal areas are?
Absolutely. So the first one was to create an instructional framework. I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. We've definitely we've been pretty successful with that. Our curriculum alignment, which is something we're working on consistently across all different subject areas. 21st century learning opportunities, really looking at what we are offering to our students, what is already embedded in the work that we are doing, and then what can we offer in the future to increase those learning opportunities for students. Looking at our technology resources and how we are using those and making sure that we are as advanced as we need to be, but also how we are using our technology resources is also important. Academic achievement is really at the heart of what we do. We want to make sure that we are that our students are successful and that we are increasing the academic achievement of all of our students. And then implementing common assessments, which we're also going to talk about a little bit later too.
Yes. It's very interesting to me that always there's this overlap and all of these goals are intertwined to the day in
Mhm.
and day out instruction of our teachers. And so at the core of this, we want to always ensure that our teachers have the support that they need to successfully implement curriculum. And we've asked them to do a lot these past couple of years. We've implemented a new ELA curriculum, a new math curriculum, also at their request, knowing that there was a need for consistent articulation in a pre-K through eighth grade setting.
Mhm. Yep.
So on that same topic, why don't you go ahead and talk about vertical and horizontal alignment and why that's so important in curriculum?
Absolutely. This is kind of where we started when we began the work. It was, strategic goal plan 3B, and looking at both articulation vertically, meaning that we are aligned pre-K through 12th grade. So even working with the high school and working with some articulation with those, our middle school teachers do meet with the high school teachers at Evergreen Park High School as we work to align with them. So making sure that our teams, on the left, it's, our building grade level teams, our district grade level teams, and our district content teams. So when we meet in content teams, making sure that we are meeting, math teachers from the elementaries all the way up through middle school, our ELA teachers, elementary all the way through middle school, so that we are aligning vertically and building on every grade in that sense. And then also horizontally, making sure that not only are we meeting within building grade level teams, but we're meeting across the district. So our second grade team from Northeast is also meeting with all of the other second grade teams. It's Southeast, Southwest, and Northwest. So wanting to be aligned across all of our schools at the same grade level.
Absolutely. And I think the most important part to this is that our teachers really requested the
Mhm.
ability to have connections with their peers across the district. So, to our families, when you think about those late starts that might
Mhm.
impact your day to day routine, it's super, super important to our teachers to have that time for cross articulation. And, especially when you're implementing a new curriculum, they need the ability to collaborate around the standards that they're teaching and assessing. And I know
Yep.
Dr. Carlson is going to also be talking today about our common assessment work in mathematics.
Yep.
So we had the ability to pilot a new ELA curriculum last year. We piloted two different
Mhm.
curriculums, I think three at Central, if that's correct.
It is correct. Yep.
And
Took
then
us
we
time to get.
finally, yes, yes, it took some time to get through, but we want to
Mhm.
make sure we get it right the first time.
Yep.
And in K-5, we ended up adopting Amplify CKLA. So why don't you talk a little bit about that program and why it was selected?
Absolutely. Amplify CKLA is really one that is based in the science of reading, and that as determined by our team of ELA teachers who served on our ELA committee, that really is the direction that we were wanting to go. It's based in research. It's based in how students learn to read, really increasing twofold, both the foundational skills for students, getting back to that explicit, systematic way of teaching students phonics, and phonological awareness and all of those things, and helping them at those early grades, but then also increasing comprehension skills really through developing core knowledge. CKLA stands for Core Knowledge Language Arts, knowing that we need to build that background knowledge for students in order to help them to be able to comprehend at higher levels. So this curriculum looks a little bit different than what they have taught in the past, or what maybe we've seen in the past. It really has deep units that go into a lot of really nonfiction texts. A lot of science and social studies applications are able to be used with CKLA. Which initially we looked at some of those topics, and as a committee, even prior to the pilot, commented on, oh, we didn't really think that the kids would engage, that they would enjoy it. And shockingly, they soaked it up like sponges. They love the topics that they are learning about. I know that in one of our first grade classes, they're building the Great Wall of China throughout the school. So, or second grade, I'm sorry, they're building the Great Wall of China, which is, the kids are loving it. So really being able to incorporate these topics at a higher level, which then the students are able to engage with so many more texts and understand them at a deeper level as they are building their comprehension. So it's exciting, and the feedback so far has been really positive.
Yes, absolutely it has. And I think one of the most important things about it is that it also has a cohesive writing program for our students as well, too, which,
Mhm, mhm.
if I remember correctly, our teacher said was missing in our previous curriculum.
Yes. Yep. And that was one of the comments, Stephen, that was made when we talked, and we had a new teachers meeting. And one of the celebrations was that they're really noticing that the stamina for students for writing is increasing even already. So that's exciting. Um, our Spanish language arts, which this is what is being used in our TBE classrooms. CKLA has a companion piece that's called Amplify Caminos, which really goes right along with the CKLA curriculum, and it is their Spanish language arts program. So I actually just met with one of our TBE teachers this morning, and she was very excited about the engagement that she's seen, and the conversations using high level vocabulary was really
Mhm.
one of the things that she talked about this morning, and was excited about. So we're starting to see some of that growth already.
That's fabulous.
Mhm.
Absolutely a need for our exposure in our multilingual programming.
Yes, the increase of the use of students' native languages is really one that we're working on in TBE. And by continuing the Spanish language arts through third grade, we've really been able to expand those offerings for them.
Fabulous. So then we jump into our middle school environment in our 6-8 level, and they have opted to adopt the springboard curriculum, which is also, if I remember correctly, aligned with our high school. Is that accurate?
It is accurate. So we piloted 3 programs at Central, and the first 2, they just were not. Um, so there were pros and cons for both, and just everyone wasn't really feeling super positive about the 2 of them, but they really had done some articulation with the high school last year, and I had really been hearing the positive voices around Springboard and what the high school has been seeing. So they did decide to pilot it early last year, and it was unanimous. They really all the teachers that piloted really liked it. They had shared with the other teachers on the team. So we decided to go with Springboard. It, like we said, it does correspond with what's being done at the high school, and what they're enjoying is all of the resources that are available. The opportunities students have to engage with text, they are finding is much more significant than what they had before. So they are really liking it at the middle school as well.
Yes, I've heard exceptionally positive things about Springboard from our middle school ELA teachers.
Mhm.
And I think it is absolutely what we need in order to
Yes.
increase that vertical alignment with our high school as well.
And the expectations are higher. There definitely is more opportunities for critical thinking and higher level interaction with the text than maybe what they have had before. So it is a bit of an adjustment, but it's one that was definitely necessary, and also has that embedded writing throughout. So another area that really needed to be improved upon.
Great. Now we shift to math, and I believe we're in year 2 of implementation with our K-8 math program, which is so exciting. It was one of, I think, the main things that both you and I heard as soon as we started, that we had all these pockets of different math programs and we weren't seeing cohesiveness. So
Correct.
tell us a little bit about Eureka Math Squared and what you're seeing from your level.
Yes. So this is our second year with Eureka Math Squared. Again, we are tweaking some things this year. We really are focusing a little bit more on that pacing. Last year, recognizing that it was a new program, that there are definitely gaps that the students had, students that had not had Eureka in the past. So really we're working at a slower pace last year, but then recognizing that along with that slower pace comes a lot of material that you do not get to, and a lot of the content and standards that do not get covered. So this year we really are trying to be intentional with our pacing. Um, which is a challenge, and it's one that we are working on. Um, when you move faster through the material, you are having to really understand that how the Eureka math works, and what it is based in is a concept of mastery over time, and
Mhm.
that all of the lessons really layer on that conceptual understanding. So by the end of a lesson, um, not all of the students may have mastered it, and that is not the expectation, but that maybe that next lesson they will pick up a little bit more and they will understand it because the next layer has been added. And we are having those conversations regularly with our teachers. I had one just the other day where she said, they got to the end of the unit, and the student commented about, this was so hard in the beginning. She said, but then it just clicked. I just understood. And that really is what it's based on. And we know that kids are not all the same. And just like we say as parents, you don't compare your child with someone else's child. And while your child may have walked at 8 months, someone else's child may not walk until 15 months. That they learn things at a different rate, and we know that. And so that really is what that mastery over time is built upon, that by the end of the unit, we hope that we can get them there, but it doesn't necessarily happen on a day to day. So we are, with that mindset shift, we are working through that pacing. Students are mastering the skills throughout the module. And then we are leading into our common assessments. That's the other piece that we have added this year to math, is along with that pacing, that idea of a common assessment, meaning that the students at each of the 4 elementaries are taking that same end of module assessment, which is not something that has occurred before. So definitely something that we wanted to add for a number of reasons. But that's one of the new things that we are working on this year.
Excellent. And I believe overall, I've heard such positive results from our teachers in terms of having this program, and that they are seeing the connection with our students, which is
Mhm.
excellent to hear.
Yep. Increased number sense is one that we're really hearing a lot, which is great.
Yes.
So why are common assessments so important? A number of reasons. Here are 5. They allow our students to accurately understand the effectiveness of certain curriculums. And we, like we said, have adopted 2 curriculums in 2 years, which is a little bit unheard of. But was very necessary. We really know that we need to be teaching to the level of rigor of the standards that are out there in order for our
Mhm.
students to be successful. And we need to have those clear expectations for all of our students. So by having these common assessments, our teachers are able to get together and really look at how are our students, our Evergreen Park students, doing in relation to the priority standards that we have chosen. And then we can determine that effectiveness of what we're using. They allow teachers the opportunity to clearly measure their teaching strategies and learn from others. When we all are provided with the same assessment and we're all commonly giving this assessment, our teachers now are not operating in silos. They're able to get together with other teachers from other buildings and look and say, your students did really well on this standard, whereas mine maybe struggled. What did you do? And we're able to learn from each other and grow all of our instructional practices in that way for the betterment of all kids. It equips teachers to quickly be able to identify where students are struggling, and then it allows us to accurately diagnose what exactly they need. So because our common assessments are based specifically on those standards, we can say, this student did really well on these 3 priority standards that are identified, but really struggled in just this one. So we need to provide them that reteaching opportunity on just this one standard versus just looking at the test as a whole. So their common assessments break it down by standard, which provides us with that opportunity. They enable us to have consistent expectations for
Right.
specific grade levels and subjects, We want to make sure that all of our students are receiving the same instruction, regardless of their teachers, regardless of their buildings. This really goes back to our equity piece that we talk about. We want to make sure that our students are getting consistent experiences and consistent learning experiences, and have the same grade level expectations no matter what building they are in. And finally, it provides common language and data points so that teachers can effectively develop, modify, and implement best instructional plans. We had an in-service on the 6th, and our teachers were meeting as grade level teams from across the district, and we're having excellent conversations around these assessments and around what does success look like for this standard, or how would I grade this question? What am I wanting their answer to display in order to show me that they accurately understand this concept? And just having those deep conversations really help to improve everything that we're doing. So it's pretty exciting.
It is. It's very exciting. I always like to say that Evergreen Park is a beautiful world, right?
Mhm.
And then we have 4 elementary schools that feed into 1 middle school. And ultimately our goal, and we are entirely on the right track, is that all of our 2nd grade students, for an example, have the same instruction, the same curriculum resources sitting in front of them, the same assessments, so that when all of our students trickle up to the middle school, they've had similar classroom experiences. And of course, we need our teachers to do that, and they're doing such a great job, and we're so proud of them. And, we can't really ask for anything more at this point.
Absolutely.
Learning walks and our instructional framework. These are such fancy terms. Tell us more about that.
Absolutely. So 3A was another one of our goals. The district shall establish an instructional framework that includes small group, whole group, differentiation, enrichment, project-based learning. We really sat down as a team of many, many stakeholders and decided what we felt like high quality tier 1 instruction looks like, what we feel that it looks like, what we want it to look like, what we aspire to bring to our students every day. And created this instructional framework. So it really just lists out what we desire, and this is really what is driving a lot of the conversations that we're having within the buildings surrounding tier 1 materials, tier 1 instruction, and the teaching and learning that's going on. The best part about it, I feel like, is that it really helps us to be intentional when it comes to our professional development, because we are able to collect data using this tool. So through the course of learning walks, we actually just had some at the beginning of this month, and our teams will do them again this winter, and then again in the spring. We're able to collect data around all of these different areas and what instruction is looking like across our buildings. And from that, we're able to identify trends both at a building level and then also at a district level, and then provide professional development based on that. So, for example, if one building is noticing that they want to have improvements around student discourse and those opportunities for students to be talking and using academic vocabulary with one another, and explaining thinking, they can then provide some professional development in that area. If another group is really wanting to work on providing higher level questioning opportunities for students and what those questions look like within the classroom, they can provide professional development around that. So it's really helping our building level teams to be, again, there's the word again, and more intentional with the professional development that they're offering.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a great process.
Yes, it was great in our last building principals meeting. I asked each of the principals what they're working on in terms of their learning walks, and all principals are able to share with us, and our teachers are aware at each building what they're working towards. And I think our next step is for our students to know, like, we're all working on discourse, so
Yes,
that we can really transfer to the classroom level with
absolutely.
our kids.
Yes.
Right. Anything else additional with professional development that you've experienced?
Absolutely. So professional development, we really look for it to be job embedded. That's one of the things that we've talked about, and I know, Jenna, you feel passionately about, is how we can provide this professional development really where the teachers are working every single day, and to make it personal to them and have it be representative of what their needs are in the classrooms. So our professional development this year really is kind of centering around these four things. At the building level, we're really looking for those trends aligned to the instructional framework. So each building might have a specific, or each building does have a specific item that they are working on through, our building level principals leading that out, and our instructional coaches helping to facilitate that at the building level. We are also really doing a lot of work this year around inclusion with the help of our student support services department. They're really working to provide our buildings with information and support in the area of student inclusion and least restrictive environment for all of our students with IEPs. Common assessments is something, like I said, that's new for our teachers this year. So that does require training, and that does require time with them for them to feel comfortable with their data and with the conversations that they're having around those common assessments. So that's something that we're continuing all school year. And then we are still working to make sure that we're implementing our new curriculums with fidelity. So that comes with coaches and different trainings for different folks around implementation and the implementation of those programs, CKLA, Springboard, even still Eureka. So we want to make sure we're supporting them in that way.
Yes. And you did speak to my passion around job embedded professional development. I might have wrote my dissertation about it. So yes, I am very passionate about it. It is super important that our teachers have the opportunity to be coached. So you think about a high level athlete, they're coached by somebody who is not necessarily an expert in their particular field, but is somebody who's able to provide them ongoing feedback around what they're doing each and every day. And I'm so pleased that we have coaches at each of our buildings, and that we're actually able to increase our coaching capacity at Central Middle School this year, which was also very important to me personally and professionally. And that we have 2 full-time instructional coaches at our middle school, because there's more teachers there to support, and we're definitely seeing payoff in that regard.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about all of this is connected, obviously, to student achievement and the outcomes that we are looking for with our students.
Right. So our strategic plan obviously has a goal in it about increasing overall academic achievement and the growth of student learning. So this is really what we do every day. I feel like everything that we are doing is driven by this desire to help our students to be more successful and grow with their learning. So our high quality instructional framework is one of those things. We know that there's nothing more important than the teacher in the classroom. And so making sure that we're supporting teachers in whatever way we can. Alignment of our high quality instructional materials. So really recognizing that we did need to increase the expectations, and making sure that our curriculum was aligned, like we said, both vertically and horizontally, and that we were putting our curriculum materials really are the tools that teachers work with every day. And we wanted to make sure that they had the tools necessary to do their jobs. So we're providing those. The implementation of those common assessments really helps us to focus on student learning. We know that we're teaching a lot every single day, but these really are an opportunity for us to sit back and say what was exactly learned. So that helps as well. And then this year we really are increasing our focus on chronic absenteeism. This is something that really we are hearing a lot about, particularly post-pandemic. And schools all over the country are recognizing the struggle with student attendance, and it's something really important. We can't teach kids when they're not here, so we want to make sure that we have a better focus on that and tracking that data.
Great. Can you define chronic absenteeism for us?
Absolutely. So there is, if you want to go, yes, perfect. So there is definitely, there is definitely a difference between chronic truancy and chronic absenteeism. So truancy really is looking at your unexcused absences. The emphasis of truancy really is that compliance, be it the law, for students to be in school and complying with school rules. This is where you would incorporate like a truancy officer, and students would be reported to truancy. Those are those unexcused absences. Chronic absence and chronic absenteeism is actually something that the state requires us to report on to the state. These are all student absences, recognizing that it doesn't matter if it's excused or unexcused. Students not being at school impacts achievement.
Right.
So it looks at all student absences. It emphasizes academic impact of those missed days. And we're really, as a district, trying to look at what can we do in order to improve that? What can we do community-based? What barriers can we eliminate? What supports can we offer to families to ensure that students can be present in school as much as possible? Chronic absenteeism at the state level counts as anything more than 10% of the school year. So again, it's 18 days total. Any student that is missed more than 18 days in a school year is considered chronically absent. And like I said, the state requires us to report all of those numbers to us, and they do actually impact, what we are seeing as a district as far as our designations and things like that. So it's a big deal. And the main purpose of it is we want kids in school. We want them
Yes,
present.
absolutely. We want them in school, and we want them to also be healthy when they come to
Yes.
school.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of ensuring that kids recognize how important it is, and that families
Mhm.
recognize how important it is. And we are also always open to suggestions and our ideas. If you have ideas
Mhm.
that you'd like to send our way in terms of how to
Absolutely.
improve absenteeism from a community lens, we are happy to meet with you or chat with you about that directly.
Mhm.
All right.
These are some of the things that we're kind of doing as this year to kind of help to improve our chronic absenteeism. One, we're monitoring this district wide, so we've really given our principal teams some tools that will help them to be better able to monitor student attendance and to be able to figure out trends and things that they can do in order to support it. We are increasing communication with our families, so trying to be a little bit more consistent on how we are notifying families. One of those things is monthly postcards. So everyone should be expecting those monthly postcards. Everyone probably got one. I believe it was just last week. Those will just come to your phones, and they really are just informational to tell you, this is how many absences your student has had. It could be a perfect attendance one, or there might be a number of absences, but it just is providing that communication and that information for parents on a monthly basis, so they kind of know that information. We're also trying to increase student incentives at the building level, and then also increase parent education. It is something that, particularly post-pandemic, it's sometimes hard to see the importance of being present every day,
Right.
and that every day matters, and making sure that everyone's aware of that, I think, is important.
Absolutely. And the communication with families, we want to make sure that there is open communication.
Absolutely. And how we can support. If there are issues with attendance, what can we do um, from a district lens and from a building lens in order to best support students?
Right. So just a couple questions to close us out. So how is the district supporting teachers and curriculum and instruction?
I think this really goes back to what we talked about as far as that job embedded support. We've really worked hard with our instructional coaches at every building. They are really seen as this support, the boots on the ground supporting teachers in the classrooms. We have made sure that we've provided the training surrounding their curriculums, and then providing those instructional coaches at the building level to either push in and support within classrooms, model instructions. We have really I feel like this year, even maybe a little bit more than last year so far, recognize that one of the things that they really need is just time. They need time with their materials. They need time to be looking at intentional planning, unpacking those lessons, looking at them, and learning this curriculum as they go. And if I think that that would be one of the things that I think that we've done really well, is trying to provide them with that time to collaborate with their peers, have discussions around their materials, and with their instructional coaches. So
Yeah, and I would also add teacher voice in that
mhm, mhm,
we really have worked very hard to not make decisions in isolation administratively. I do have an expectation, myself included, that we're in buildings with teachers, working with teachers, and that teachers see us regularly so we can continue to get ongoing feedback from each of them.
absolutely.
And then how is the district responding to the cultural needs of our student population, specifically in teaching and learning?
Good. Well, I have someone new that is on my team this year. Amanda
Yes.
Qatar is our DEI coordinator. And she has been an amazing addition to the staff. She really is helping us to view everything that we are doing through this lens of equity and this lens of student diversity. And so I think this through our conversations with her, recognizing, one of the other pieces, we will be evaluating our curriculum this year. We did as part of the pilot, but really using some research based tools in order to evaluate our programming around diversity and around culturally responsive practices. So we will be looking through that data, filling any gaps that we recognize, and Amanda will be a huge part of that and supporting that.
Yes. And I definitely believe when we looked at our resources specifically for ELA, we were looking at our resources from this lens of, meeting the needs of our diverse population. And
Mhm.
I was super proud that our teachers recognized a
Yep,
need for that as well. It wasn't
yep,
just us administratively saying we need to make that decision in order to support our students, but our teachers are seeing that day in and day out. And so they were looking for curriculum that supports the needs of our student population.
yep, absolutely.
All right. Well, Dr. Carlson, thank you so
Been
much
fun.
for joining us today and sharing all our new updates in the curriculum department. I know you've been super busy, and we are just super proud of your leadership and your work that you've done in this area.
Thank you.
And I just want to remind our community that we are a phone call away, an email away. If you're looking for more information, please feel free to visit our website. And I would like to sign off for now and say thank you so much, Dr. Carlson.
Thank
And
you.
from our EP family to yours, we wish you a great, great school year. And we are, again, only a phone call away if you ever need anything. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Bye.